that if the CEO is not treating their management team properly, then it's going to show. So it's a whole cycle. It's not just a matter of, tell your employees how to do it. You also have to be an example.
That's true. So going on to this next topic, because it got something to do with that now. So what do you do when your customer service is A1 but you got a shitty boss?
Well, there's always that dirt we're talking about. Well, in that case, you can approach your boss. Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to still have a job after you approach your boss. But if the boss is shitty, your best bet is probably to do your time and move on. If you're trying to build your career and stay in your field or stay at your company, you can complain to whoever is above your boss, but you need to brace yourself for the crap that's going to come down on you from that. Because sometimes supervisors and bosses are spiteful to the point where they're going to make your life a living hell if you get them in trouble.
Right.
Me personally, I can only speak from my own experience of bad managers, of managers of Christmas past. Mm-hmm. And I always ended up without a job because I either quit or I just read them so hard that their feelings hurt and didn't want me to be their employee anymore. And then they hired a legal team because the EEOC was coming after the ass real soon after. But that's outside the point here. Yeah, you can just go direct. This is my mantra, just to be as direct and clear cut as you possibly can be. If you feel like your manager is being passive aggressive or being just downright mean to you or disrespectful to you, you can come to them and say, hey, you don't have to speak to me that way, or I don't appreciate you speaking to me that way. I mean, you don't have to take it to blows like cussing and fussing and getting into fights and nothing like that. You just need to be able to communicate the fact that the way that they are addressing you is inappropriate. And if it continues, you just have to keep going up the ladder. You have to go to their manager about it, and then HR, which sometimes HR doesn't quite do the job, but that's another story.
He said, but that's another story. As many times as I done heard you say it's another story, that's another story, girl. I know you got a whole book full. Oh, speaking of books, though.
Yes, speaking of books, I am working on the memoirs of The Office Bitch. I'm hoping to have it completed by the end of September. That means I want it to be out and for sale by the end of this year. By September, I want it to be ready to publish. So we'll see what that time will look like, but I will definitely keep everybody posted. Memoirs of the Office Bitch is really like how I came to be known as the Office Bitch. So it goes back in the day to when I was in school and I giving my teacher shit, to when I worked my first restaurant job and almost broke a whole stack of plates, to my most recent experience in big corporate America. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun dishing the dirt. Now, I ain't going to say no names. I don't have to worry about that. Don't start looking forward to cussing up whoever works at whatever company on my behalf. That's not necessary. But I'm definitely going to dish all of the dirt. I'm telling all the secrets.
You said all of the secrets. So,
that's right.
Can we get a little sample of a secret, or we gotta wait for the book to drop? Well, you know I'm trying everything, girl. I'm coming for it. I need all my listeners to get it all.
A sample of a secret. Let me think of a good juicy one.
Ooh.
Well, I was in a situation where the employer was putting their employees into situations that were not safe, situations that they were not ready for. And at the time, I was doing the HR work in that company. So when the manager, not the manager, actually the owner, because it was a small business, when I approached her about the fact that these employees, they're dealing with this, and they're not, they're not comfortable, and they're not safe, and they need a little extra help, she basically just brushed it off as, oh, they need to suck it up. Eventually, she turned around and, she was a hot mess. She turned around and berated basically her whole office staff, called everyone incompetent, and ended up firing one of her most loyal employees who was always at work and on time because she didn't have her own vehicle. So it was just, that whole situation was so crappy. I can't wait to tell all the details.
Right, because I'm like, wait, what happened next? You can't keep giving us these cliffhangers and then not telling us what's going on, because how did that work? Because she needs to get what's hers. How you gonna fire somebody that's trying and striving and doing more than trying?
The worst part was that I was the one who had to fire her.
Oh, so my goodness.
I had to get all the technicalities down so that it would be legal, basically. So the compliance was in. So it wouldn't be like, it was just one day like, okay, you're fired, because she could turn around and bring a lawsuit. I had to make sure all the ducks were in the row before we let her go. Whole time I knew that she was the loyal one.
I know you felt like a real shitty person to do that.
Oh my God, it was horrible. I felt so bad, but I had to keep it together because I was like, oh man, this is my job. Let me just handle it. Tried to whisper like, you could go to unemployment.
Right. Like, you gonna get approved.
Right.
But that's crazy though, because I knew it, girl. See, I knew that these employers, these jobs, they be doing some shady stuff, because the way that they be laying people off, or some people stop giving people hours just so they can quit and try to force you to quit versus firing you, or thinking of ways to fire you to prepare you so you can't reach out to opportunities like unemployment and things of that nature. And it's just so crazy. And me being a worker, well, not anymore, but me when I was a worker, and I always wonder, like, I know they have to go the extra mile, because some people who are around me would get fired, and I know it was not a reason for them to, like,
yeah, it's a horrible thing that they be going up there, and it's a shame, because some of them think it's justified, because they think in the terms of, oh, well, I'm paying them, so they need to be acting right. But they don't realize that that's just expensive as fuck to be honest. It's very expensive to treat your employees poorly. It's expensive for them to be quitting, and it's expensive for you to be firing them, because now you're going to have to go through the whole process of hiring someone else and getting them trained and cleaning up the mistakes that they make along the way. So, again, that's a whole nother story.
That's the story. That is the story. And although I'm not really involved in corporate America right now, it's so many people that's going through so many things who will benefit from this and don't know how to handle it. Like, what would be some advice for someone who has to go through that? Like, what do you do?
My only advice for someone who is in corporate America and is dealing with a passive-aggressive employer or a manager who is just flat-out berating them is to stand up for yourself, but to keep it as professional as possible. You know, sometimes those bosses, they treat their employees a certain way as a test. They want to test to see if you even have the balls to stand up for yourself. Other times, they're just completely oblivious. They don't even realize how crappy they are. So standing up for yourself in the most professional way possible, that could mean writing a letter to them, writing a letter to their higher-up, having a sit-down conversation with someone else present to talk about the issues, and busting your ass to reach whatever goal that is that you have with that company. If your goal is just to be there to gain the experience, you stay there for as long as you can to get that experience before you start throwing your resume all over the place, because someone else will hire you if you have the skills and if you have the experience. So my my only advice is stay strong out there and open your goddamn mouth. Don't just take it.
Don't just take it, because then that'll make you feel bad about yourself. You know me, I'm big on mind, like getting your mind together, because if you're not right on the inside, your outside really not gonna be right. You have to be ready for that type stuff. You have to be so secure with yourself, and I feel like you have to love yourself enough where you just won't go for anything. You know, you won't just let anybody talk to you any type of way. You won't let anybody treat you whatever way that they want, or do certain things. And that's why you have to be so secure in you. And that's the problem. A lot of people feel they treat their job, or they put their job over how they feel. You know, how their happiness
for your health, really.
And it's not. It's so many people who've been working at these jobs for so long, and these different places, who's going through so many health issues, and it's stress related due to complications from their work environment. If it gets to the point where working somewhere is stressing you out, you need to pray and just let it go. You know, meditate and let it go. If you don't pray, talk to whoever, do whatever. Talk to yourself. It doesn't matter, but you got to get out of that, because at the end of the day, if you died tomorrow, was your job worth that happiness? Was your job worth all that stress? Was it that? And I know it's easier said than done. Some people, especially like where I grew up or where I've been around, somebody can't say that. Like, that's how you eat every day. Like, do you want to eat? Do you want a roof over your head? And I know, although it's like that, but you got to strive to be better. If you can't get out of the situation you're in right now, that means every time you get paid, everything you do, you need to be striving towards happiness, striving towards getting out of that. That's how I feel.
Exactly. Yep. And honestly, there's no such thing as there's no way out. Because if it's a matter of feeding your family, yeah, you can feed your family. And while you're working for these people who are treating you like shit, you can start applying for other jobs.
Yeah.
You can start building up your own little side thing or whatever, working out a way to start making money on your own. So that if it does come to an end, because for real, while you may have a job that's feeding you and your family right now, tomorrow that employer might be like, all right, we've had quite enough of you, Bob. You can go enjoy the rest of your life. Thanks for your service. Here's a $20 voucher to Pizza Hut or some shit, and let you go. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, and then it's like, well, what do you do next? And actually, y'all,
you always got to be prepared.
You always have to be prepared, because that's why I say it's so good. It's always good, and I feel it's always better to invest in yourself. Like, we're in this group called Brown Girls Billionaire Gang, right? Me and Amber, gang, you know. And in the group, we always talk about monetizing your talents. So don't think, if you think that you're the only thing you good at is working and going tough, thank you. If you think the only thing that's good for you is working and going to your job, and that's all that you have, then I don't know what to tell you, because that's not what life is about. Every single person on this earth has something they're good at, whether that's talking to somebody, whether that's reading good, whether that's writing good, whether that's working on cars. Maybe you're a customizer, maybe you're good with circuits. It doesn't matter, but whatever you're good at, whatever hobbies you like, you can turn that into money. And even if you just like talking, you can turn that into money. If you like being seen, you can turn that into money. It's everything that you can do, you can turn into money. So if you really tired of that situation that you're in, the only person that's in between stopping you and doing what you do is yourself. So you will have to be the one to change that, girl. See, we in here dropping it on y'all. Let me give myself a clap. Cheer for myself, Ruth. That deserved a clap right there. I had to clap for us 1-2 times. That deserved a nice little shot.
Yes. I did. Hold on, let me get my drink.
Look, I just took a sip. But I wouldn't even say we